Hey Impactors, my name is Leonard Blair Jr. and I'm the host of the MPAKT Podcast. Here, we center the stories of the entrepreneurs, influencers, and leaders that are impacting communities of color, not just in the US, but around the globe. Subscribe now and share the show with a friend so that we can continue sharing the stories of the impactors that are making the world a better place and inspiring the next generation. Thank you. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the MPAKT Podcast. I'm your host, LBJ, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to WavaSpace and their incredible founders, Valentine and Jada. Jada and Valentine, how are y'all doing today?
We're good.
They're pretty good. It's a Friday. No complaints.
Yeah.
Fridays, of course, are the best day of the week and also the best day to record a podcast episode. We just talked a little bit before the show. I am super excited for my listeners to get to hear about your incredible company, get to hear about your incredible stories. But before we do that, I'd love for y'all to formally introduce yourselves. Valentine, you can go first, and then Jada right after, and then we'll jump into the remainder of the show after that.
Cool. Thank
Awesome.
you for having us again.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Of course.
My name is Valentine. I'm a co-founder and CEO of WavaSpace.
My name is Jada. I am the co-founder and head of business development for WavaSpace.
Incredible. And for people who don't know, what is WavaSpace?
We're essentially an online marketplace that allows homeowners generate revenues by turning unused areas in their homes into office spaces for remote workers.
Incredible.
So think of Airbnb and WeWork combined. That's what we do.
I love that. As you see, I'm in my office space, but believe it or not, most of the time I do not work here. So do not be surprised if you see me signing up on your platform to rent out some of my space.
Please.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. Before we get into, the details of the company, I'd love to hear a bit about, what's y'all's background? How did the two of y'all meet? Were there early signs that you all might be creating a business together? Love to hear some of that.
Okay. So it was starting with how we met. We both live out here in Phoenix, Arizona. I met Jada in Arizona. We are actually engaged. Getting
Congratulations.
married. Thank you. We're getting married in November in Nigeria, which is where I'm from.
Amazing.
And so we met out here in Phoenix. I have a friend and my brother went on a couple of dates and then, kept coming back to the house. One day I said, hey, look, you can't keep coming to the house by yourself. I don't want to be a third wheel anymore. So I said, hey, bring a friend next time. And she brought Jada, and the rest is history.
Yeah, we've been together ever since. It's been about 7 or so years.
Right.
I love that. On that first date, did the two of you be like, did you see like the vision of starting a business together initially? Or, it's not before, as we were talking before the show, it sounds like both y'all had that entrepreneurial bug super early on. So was that something on your mind?
I don't think that was the first thing on my mind.
I also didn't think she wanted to hang out with me because she kept saying, I had to trick her to get in her phone number. I told her we were doing a barbecue and then I would text her the details. Never happened to this day.
I was, I'm from Alabama and he is Nigerian. So, just kind of being around him and exposed me to a whole nother culture. And in those beginning stages, like I saw his entrepreneurial spirit. I saw like the things that he could do and just how smart he was. But never thought that we would, I would support him, but never thought that we would go into something, like this, like what we're doing. And it's been a pretty exciting journey seeing how much we've evolved from when we first met to now, and really, kind of bringing us together. It has been an exciting journey.
I love that. What were the two of you doing at the time? Were you in the tech space, like for your day jobs?
No, actually, me personally, I was working for a well-known airline company, American Airlines.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I've been in the tech space, either like through founding my own company or working for a startup. I kind of transitioned from food/restaurant tech to fintech. So I've been in the tech space. I kind of picked the companies that I work with. Like I want them small, Usually when they get too big, then I'm like, guys, it's not really for me anymore, you know.
What was cool was he really, when we first met, he really inspired me. Just the way he spoke, the experiences that he's had, especially with tech. I wasn't really into that or didn't know too much about it. And he really just opened my mind up to that tech world. And after we got together, I think within a few months, I had left American Airlines and I started going into the tech field. And it's been a crazy, fun journey since then.
I love that. I love that. You know, I know the two of you all were doing, you know, some entrepreneurship stuff at an early age. I'd love for you to share a bit about that for our listeners.
Yeah, I can go first. So I went to boarding school in Nigeria, right? The best way to describe boarding school in Nigeria is almost like prison in the US. I've only seen it in movies. So it's kind of a world where you kind of have to survive, right? At a young age, I went to boarding school when I was 10. So you're gonna have to learn how to survive very quickly. One of the things that I remember doing is there was this thing, let's just call it Kool-Aid, right? You know, my mom would buy it. I didn't really care for it, but I never told my mom. So she would buy it for me, and then I'll take it and I'll mix it in the water, and I start selling the individual bottles. I will make the entire pack. I'll make more money from selling one of the things than the entire like pack that it came in.
That's crazy.
So that's one of the things that I did every time we came back from holidays, because my dad was in the US, my uncle was in the US. Every time they came to visit, they brought all the latest like video games. So we had the PlayStation 1, 2, the PlayStation Portable, we had all of that stuff. And when my mom goes to the office, she doesn't like when we have guests in the house when she's not there.
Yeah.
So as soon as she leaves, we'll invite friends over, and these were good friends. We will still charge them to play our video games, right? When you come to my house, I'll say, how much money do you have in your pocket? You have to bring everything out. And if you don't have enough, you can only play like what you have. If if I'm able to collect enough from you, I'll let you play free the rest of the night before my mom gets. So that's always been me, and like that was kind of my original like journey into the entrepreneurship world. My mom was an entrepreneur, started multiple businesses. I've seen her like, grow businesses, fail, but she kept going, right?
Yeah.
And then moved to the US, and then kind of started going into tech specific businesses. Like, you share more about that, but I don't know if Jada wants to give you a little bit of her story too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I'm from Alabama originally, and then I moved to Arizona and went to high school and middle school, high school, and college in Tucson, Arizona. And just kind of growing up, my parents have always instilled the value of a dollar, right? Especially as a Black woman, Black child coming from Alabama. And, I've always kind of had that sense of like wanting to bring together a community. We would host parties at our house all the time. We were, I would start different things. For example, in middle school, I would have my mom get me the big box of chips and the sour candies, and I would take those and I would go sell those at school. I'm seeing,
similarities amongst the two of your stories.
Yeah, I'm saying it out loud. I'm hearing those similarities as well. They tried to shut me down, but you can't hold me down. And so, I would be selling them, behind the teachers' backs and things like that. I was known as like the girl with the snacks, right? The candy girl or something. And it continued all the way up until, some of high school as well. In the midst of that, I started a dance group at my church with my mom and a few other people. We took and grew that from 5 people to 150, 200. I think 250 actually was the highest.
Wow.
And it ranged from ages 5 to like 75 for this dance group. We were known all over the West Coast for our praise dance in like the church community. And with that same program, I also started a mentorship, like a tutoring program with the young girls there, helping them get into college and things like that. So I've always had that sense of bringing that community together. And then some other things I did on the side was I had a weed business, which pulling weeds. When I was young, I would go around the neighborhood and try to get business. I was in competition with a professional weed landscaping business. They would tear down my flyers and I would put them right back up, and people would call us. They even had to come to our house to try to tell me to stop, and my parents were like, "No, she's gonna do it." So I've always had that kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, I've always had that kind of, bringing people together, as well as, those small little business ideas to, kind of keep money in my pockets to do what I wanted to do, but also to, expand that and bring people in. So,
as I'm hearing both your stories, it sounds like your family was kind of behind your entrepreneurship endeavors early on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. My mom will go to bat like, that's my child. She'll do what she wants.
I watched my mom start businesses from her head, and I watched them turn into realities, and I watched them turn into cash flow businesses multiple times. And I just kind of grew up around that, and I think that has really influenced a lot of things that I do today.
Yeah, you were telling me a story before we started about a business that your first acquisition, for say. I'd love for you to share that story with our listeners.
I believe you're talking about Easy Chops. It was
Easy Chops.
My first endeavor into the tech space, and is how I don't take credit for having a great idea here. Facebook has all the credit. I was on Facebook one day, and then a classmate of mine, Sammy, posted a link to something called Easy Taxi. Essentially, it was a taxi services for food. And if you think about it, in 2012, 2013, this is a novel idea. There was no Uber Eats. Grubhub was not even delivering, right? They weren't doing delivery drivers or anything like that. So this was brand new. So I'm sitting there like, oh, holy crap, this is brilliant. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, Sammy, what is this thing you just posted? It's like, it's a class project. I'm like, are you using it? He's like, no. I was like, you know what? Hey, you know what'd be funny? Let me give you $1. And if I give you $1,
were you in college at this time?
Yes.
Were you okay?
Yeah, at the University of Virginia. And I said, hey, if I give you $1 and I turn this into $1 billion company, how cool of a story would that be? What I didn't tell him was like cool of a story for me. Right? But he essentially was like, yeah, no, not happening. I spent time writing this code. So I was like, all right. We ended up settling at, I think, about $200. I called my mom and asked her for $200, and I gave Sammy $200, and I took his code. And that was the beginning of like something special in my life, because that experience kind of changed my entire trajectory in the tech space. So I give Sammy 200. I take his code, going through the code, like seeing how everything works, and I'm like, we can't use this. It's not usable. So we ended up scrapping it, and then we started from scratch. We built a new platform. We built Easy Chops. I remember we went to go get our little shirts with our logos on them. And the idea was, as a college student that only had, delivery options were Chinese, was pizza, was wings. That's all. That was your options. So I started thinking about, like, I have a car. Not all college students have car. What if I could go bring somebody Chipotle? What if I can go bring somebody McDonald's? Like, the day we launched, the site was already like popular. It was so funny. Sammy was the first person to actually order from the site. Sammy placed an order. I think he wanted to test if we actually pulled it off or not. I did that.
He was putting his $200 to use.
Right. Exactly. I did that delivery. I'm like, he's gonna keep ordering, and I'm gonna make my $200 back from Sammy. Yeah, so it worked, and and that was cool. So we started off where we didn't tell the restaurant. We just listed their menu. We get the orders on our platform. We go and order it, pay for it, cash, and then once the money comes in from our payment processor, we just kind of reimburse ourselves that way. So that's how we started. And one day we delivered Chipotle to this girl. I will never forget it. That changed our lives. And she goes on Facebook and says, oh my God, this company just delivered Chipotle to my door. The website crashed.
That's crazy.
Yes, the website crashed. We were using a free hosting service. It crashed, and I'm like, holy crap, we have a real business. So now we're thinking we need to start talking to these restaurants so we can get a cut from this restaurant.
Yeah. What year was this?
This was in 2013.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And we're like, we need to get a cut from these restaurants.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how that journey started. It started crazy. Like with the first restaurant I walked into, I forgot what it's called, Fire Station Pizza or something like that. I walked into this restaurant. I'm young, like 22 years old or something, right? And so I say, hey, we'll deliver food for you. Here's a proposal. You sign this contract. And they were like, how many percent? I was like, 5%. They were like, put the paper down. I was signing. First restaurant. This is how new this was, right? Just I was like,
that's crazy.
So I sold the first restaurant the moment the first one I walked into. They're like, I will pay you to deliver the food for me. Wow. And so we, it started escalating from there. We got reached out. The company called Foodio called us. They were kind of the main like online ordering platform in Virginia and Charlottesville. Then they randomly reached out. I said, hey, we found out about you guys. I'm like, how are you people finding out about it? They called us and they were like, we want to partner. So we became their official delivery service. Boom, sales goes up. And it just kind of kept going from there. I'll never forget the day I was driving to the office. At this time, we had moved from our dining to an actual office space. And I'm driving to the office and I get a call, hello, who's this? And so it's Popeyes. What? I mean, a call from Popeyes. Like, Popeyes wants us to deliver their chicken. This is dope. And, and then the rest was history, man. We took that city from maybe 3 or 4 delivery restaurants to, at this peak in Charlottesville, we probably had somewhere around 50 restaurants doing delivery. So that's 50 different options that customers had now because of what we did. And that just really kind of, set up this journey, this entrepreneurship journey. We got competitions that came into the market. It was very tough. We were young kids pulling in, crazy amount of revenue. We didn't think we needed investors or anything like that. Again, inexperience. And so the competition was really tough. And, what we ended up doing is our initial restaurant signed a contract. So we just sold off those contracts and set the market. So.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. Every time I tell the story, I'm like, wow, I can't believe that actually happened, but it did. It's real life.
Okay, so I guess Jada, what were you doing at this time? Because I want to kind of keep these stories in parallel as we tell it.
Definitely. During that time, I was really just the dance, the praise dance that I was doing in church. It had really, really taken off around that time. And we were traveling a lot to California, to Vegas, to Phoenix, Texas. We were traveling a lot. And so I really just was neck deep in that, in college as well around that time. And then my mentorship program really kind of took off as well. I know that that's something that they're still doing, and it's a basis of the things
amazing
still at the church that I was at. And it's really exciting to see. I still have some of the girls call me to talk to me, just kind of give them advice still to this day. And it was a really rewarding experience. I'm really big on community. I'm really big on hosting. I'm really big on bringing people together. And I just kind of jumped full force into that versus anything else. And then after that, I moved up to Phoenix and I started working for American Airlines and got into a little rut because I knew that there's something more that I should be doing, right? And I knew that I had that drive in me, but I just didn't have that community around me to show me those different things, to show me that it was possible. And then I met Valentine, and it's kind of changed, as someone growing up from Alabama in the 90s, right? You're really told to kind of minimize yourself in some ways, especially in the South, hey, just get a job, get a good paying job, do this, this, and this. But I always feel like, I'm made for something more. Like, look at all of these things that I've accomplished. And then meeting Valentine in 2016, seeing what he's done, hearing his stories. I'm like, in listening to how he grew up, it really just reinvigorated me and really kind of pushed me towards that. And like, now I have this community of people that I can kind of bounce off ideas off of. And I started really getting into consulting for tech startups because I know how to build programs and things like that. Consulting for startups and things like that really just reinvigorated me.
Incredible. I got a couple questions. I'm gonna go back before I go forward. With your praise dancing and mentoring company, like how did you go about scaling that? Because I grew up in the church my entire life. It's not common, at least in my experience, to see a praise dancing group go from one church to being traveling across the country. So I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. Man, it was a very wild experience. I love performing. I love being on the stage and I love dancing, right? My mom is an old school mom from the South, right?
Yeah.
Instilled, she instilled discipline in us. She instilled, if me and my best friend say it now, if something's not right, we're like, hey, it has to be in order, right?
Yeah.
And so, what we did was, there started off 5 people. They had a praise dance team, but it was all in disarray when we got there, and a lot of people quit. So we started off with 5, and it was really just 5 people praise dancing, and my 5 people and my mom praise dancing for about a year. We really had to kind of push and work and try to recruit and bring people in. And, we just made it look so much fun, which it was. It was a lot of fun. And we started pulling more girls in after that year, after other churches had started asking us to come and praise dance. After our pastor really kind of pushed us out and said, challenged us more, which made us want to challenge us. And it was awesome because we were able to pull in so many people in that second year, and it just exploded. It just exploded. We had more performances than we had time to practice for. Dance captain, I was a choreographer, and then with that, we started the mentoring program because I was also like in high school, and I was getting ready to go to college, and we didn't really have those resources to help these Black girls, make sure that they have, the resources and the opportunities to get into, some of these prestigious schools and things like that. So, and I'm really good at math. I'm really good at school, math, reading, everything. So, it was a requirement as a dance captain that I made to the younger girls that, hey, your grades have to be within this amount, season.
That's awesome.
You guys have to come to praise dance practice, and we're going to have a study session after. They would come to my house, and, I really invested a lot of time in these girls to, pick up their self-esteem, encourage them, and make sure they got those opportunities that they really wanted, getting into the colleges that they wanted. And that was just kind of a blueprint for every other church. During our time, it was kind of a blueprint. Everyone was kind of copying us. We started doing workshops in Phoenix for praise dance and mentoring, and it really just kind of blew up. It really just kind of blew up. And then we started getting the older women involved, people in their 30s at that time, people in their 70s, and wow, I was very close with everyone in that. Everyone in our praise dance team, from the youngest ones at 5 to the oldest ones at 70, 75. And, I really kind of leaned on, as those older women kind of came in, I really leaned on them a lot to get them to help us with the younger women, be that example. And we were able to create a program that people were able to replicate in California, here in Phoenix, and Vegas. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. It's great. I miss it.
Incredible. So, at this point, I guess after the point we're at now, Valentine, you mentioned that you're working with tech startups. Jada, you are consulting for tech startups. At what point do you all come together and say, "Hey, WavaSpace it is"?
Yeah. I think for the most part, like we've always explored the question. Like, she knows I'm an entrepreneur. We've always explored the question of, can we work together? As a couple? And not just as founders, right? Maybe I'm at a job and like I'm a manager there and like we're hiring, and I know it pays more than it pays well enough for her to come in there. But I'm just like, I don't know if I want to, have that kind of relationship. So we've always explored that question. And I think the big thing was with when we started WavaSpace, we both we just shared a problem together.
Yeah,
we had the same problem.
Absolutely.
And we felt the same amount of passion about the problem. And then when we thought about the solution, we felt the same amount of passion about it. And I think it just it made sense as sort of the official first thing that we're doing together in the tech space. We've had other businesses that we've done, but like tech wise, this is gonna be the first thing. And this came about during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Changed a lot of things. We went from everybody going into the office to everybody being at home every single day, having meetings literally at the same time, everybody talking at the top of their voice. And she would come out of the room and be like, "You're so loud." And I'm like, it's a small 2-bedroom downtown.
His voice is booming.
It's like there's nothing I can do.
Y'all sound like me and my wife. We work at the same company. Reason we moved here was because I was like, I need space and you need space. We got to keep this because it's not working out.
Yeah, like I need the space and
exactly. And what I would try to do is I'd either work outside in the Arizona heat and be dying.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
During the summer, or I would try to go to a coffee shop, and it was just too much background noise and it was too distracting. It just wasn't a conducive environment for me to be going every single day.
Yeah. And then we decided to buy a house to solve this problem. Right. Now, if you think about it, the millions of people that are probably going through the same thing, like they cannot just wake up one day and buy a house. We were fortunate enough to do that. And when we bought the house, it was, we're like, there's way more space than we need in here. And then one day we're kind of working and we're like, and I was like, would you be okay if we let people come work here? Like anybody who has probably not the most ideal working environment, like since everybody's working remote now.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was like, yes.
It's usually just me, him, and
my brother,
and his brother, my brother-in-law. It's usually three. So I was excited to see more people in the house. And again, I love hosting, so it makes it feel more like lively,
Yeah.
She's like, well, I get to buy snacks and like give people and make coffee for people, and I'm like, yes.
Went and bought a coffee machine.
Yeah. Knowing the two of y'all, were y'all charging people $2 for the coffee?
Listen, I thought about it. She was like, well, not now. Give them some time.
Let's get it going.
Let's get it going before you start asking them for money. I thought about it. But all roads leads down to money, right? Which is how we founded the company. So it was, people started coming here and they were legitimately like enjoying being here. They would leave their home, they would come here, we'll get a call. It's like, hey, is it okay if I come through? I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. That's why we put all this desks here.
Wow.
So we started having people come here, we'll just hang out, and then, something started to happen where like folks are bouncing ideas off of each other, having, that casual conversation like you were in the office, like when everybody, when folks are not on the call. People can go downstairs and like lounge and like hang out. And that just started happening. And then one day we were talking about like, man, people really love coming here. Like, we could charge for it,
Yeah.
And right. And then not just that we could charge for it. I'm like, what about other people who have spaces like this? Right. You've seen there's like, especially the pandemic really kind of drove growth in the space sharing economy as well. You have, swim pool. You can rent out your swimming pool. You have I forgot what the other company is called.
Space.
There's Pure Space. There's the garage where you can rent out your garage as a storage space. And so the space sharing economy, asset sharing economy, like has just been booming especially since the pandemic. We're like, man, there are other people who would let folks come work in their house.
Yeah.
Let's go find them, right? Talk to them, and let's go find remote workers,
And then on the other side, with people coming over here very often just to get out of their environment. On that remote worker side, it's just nice to switch up your environment, right? Not have to commit to, say, a co-working space like WeWork, right? Or having to pay a membership, commute time. How far is the co-working space from where you're at? And I think that was, giving them the flexibility of the things that are important to them, that they can, find a space somewhere and it's what they need for whatever it is, even if it's just for one day, even if it's for a whole week. If they just want to get out of the house because a lot of stuff is going on at home, they can, book through us. And I think allowing remote workers to have that flexibility and just that sense of community again, without having to go into an office or be so committed to a co-working space, is really also kind of what fueled it, because it's nice. It's nice to see faces.
Yeah, as I listen to y'all, like I work remote most of the time. I'm like, I would love the ability to be around other remote workers, but I often work at coffee shops for that reason, but to do it in a home environment sounds like even more communal. So I love that. Okay, so you're starting to let other people work in the space. You decide you want to turn into the business. What time is this? Is this 2022 or is this like 2020, late 2021?
This is in 2022.
Yeah.
That we decide we want to go from just inviting people over to building a platform. Now,
of course,
so I'm gonna say probably around June, July is when we go from idea to we're gonna start implementing.
That's my next question. How did you launch? What were those first steps to say, hey, we're ready to take this thing big leagues? How'd you go?
So, the first thing is we wanted to understand the industry, right? Started doing a lot of research, seeing what is happening in the office space world, the co-working space world and things like that. And I think at some point last year, I don't remember exactly when, we started seeing a lot of WeWork locations start to close down. So we started asking why. We're not going to go invest in the platform if people don't want to be in spaces like this. But then we realized that they're closing down for a totally different reason. A lot of people don't want to commit, right? So people need flexibility. I don't want to pay you every single month if I'm not going to be here every single day of the month, right?
At that point, it's just like going back into the office.
Exactly. You kind of force yourself to go now because you're paying, $500, $600 every month for this. So that, and then WeWork is closing down, for other reasons as well. And then the big question was, so now that everybody's remote, are they going to go back into the office, right? And then there was an article, I don't remember where, that came out that said, downtown office spaces have gone from, I think, about a 94% occupancy rate to about a 47%.
Yeah.
So businesses realize that they don't need to pay crazy amount in lease, for lease anymore. And so they were just we're not doing it anymore. So now you have all these vacant office spaces. Now the issue is that businesses has made this decision, but what about the remote workers? What about the folks like us that lived in a 2-bedroom? And then we started also seeing that businesses are willing to pay or subsidize these kind of service, this kind of tools, this kind of platform for their employees, right? They'll happily pay for a co-working space. They'll happily give you a budget to reimburse you for office space work and things like that. And that was kind of it. We're people are not going back to these offices. These spaces are going to be repurposed for something else. Because businesses are just as productive. They're making if not more money now, like because like folks are, I just read something recently like they said like people are more productive working at home. So
Yeah.
they're not going back, and we're like, well, let's create a platform that makes this like transition like better for remote workers, for businesses, and for folks who have the space to rent out.
Right. And it's great because we're not just targeting tech remote workers, all remote workers,
freelancers,
incredible,
all of them. Everyone needs to just kind of switch up their environment. It helps with creativity. It helps, just switching up your environment. Things get stale, and it definitely.
Incredible. So, you're looking at the competitive landscape. What hiccups did you run into, as you all, got ready to, formally launch?
I mean, there's always hiccups with the products. Like, there's always like, this is like the 10th one that I've done. And there's always hiccups in the product, things that you just account for. Like if somebody like me who is big picture, it's so hard to get like certain like details when it comes to like the tech side. So I find myself sitting with the developer. He's like, "Well, you didn't tell me about that feature." I'm like, "Well, you should have just assumed we need this for this." Like, the developer I work with, I've worked with him for about 6-7 years now, and
Amazing.
guy lives in Cameroon. And so but like we already have this relationship going where he knows that I'm not going to account for. I would say this has been the WavaSpace experience was a more smoother experience with him, because now he has come to the point where he's like, all right, I have to think through some of these things that Valentine might not want to think through. So there were some hiccups there, and really having like concrete information on like how remote workers are going to view a platform like this. We did a survey. We sent out a survey to over 2,000 remote workers in Tulsa. They have a Tulsa remote program over there. And Justin, who is the director of the program, kind of helped us out, sent out the survey. And we learned so much from that survey. The biggest reason why people will use WavaSpace is commute. It's also the biggest reason why they don't sign up for co-working space if it's not conveniently placed for them. So we give you this flexibility. You can find the things that are around you, the places that are around you, the hosts that are close by. And then I thought people were going to choose co-working space or places like this for coffee. Coffee came in like third, and price wasn't so much of a factor. So
it was mainly commute.
It was just mainly commute. People were like,
incredible.
I don't want to go far, and I want flexibility. Like, so which was good. On the negative side, it's just like when Uber started, people were worried about their safety. Airbnb started, people were worried about safety. The good thing is like we can easily address that with like putting some security measures on our platform, verification, identity verifications and things like that. And plus, Airbnb has already gone through the of what it's like to be in somebody's home. So we're not starting from scratch here. So
of course. So when did you officially, launch the product on, I guess, make it available for users to start signing up?
That was earlier this year in February.
Yeah, we did a soft launch. We haven't done a massive announcement yet. It's just been a soft launch because we want to keep stress testing the platform. Like as we get people to sign up, we want to see how the platform handles. So, but we are actually going to be in Las Vegas tonight.
Oh wow!
We're launching in Vegas.
Incredible! Congratulations!
Thank you so much. Tech Alley, is hosting a launch event for us, and so we're so excited. We're gonna be there tomorrow.
Amazing!
We're gonna do a launch in Vegas. We're pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we'll be sure that we'll talk offline, but we'll make sure we release this episode around that time too. Help build that hype for y'all. But when as you get ready to make your I guess loud launch. I'm losing the words, but as you get ready to tell the world about this incredible company that you all have built, have you all decided to seek investment dollars yet, or are you holding off? And if so, why one versus the other?
We've reached out to a few investors. We have folks who are kind of watching right now, in the investing landscape right now. Like, traction is everything, so we're trying to get. I think like we should be able to secure some investors like once we hit like a certain level of traction, and like it's more, we see more repeatability on the sites. Like, but we're looking for investors. If there's anybody listening that wants to invest, definitely reach out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we're at the point where I think we can start accepting dollars right now. But again, we probably only reached out to about 20 investors right now.
And a few started programs.
Yeah,
accelerated programs.
We've started looking into just a few accelerator programs as well.
I love that. And I remember as you were telling the story of I keep forgetting the name of the
Easy Chops.
Easy Chops, yes. As I remember you telling the story of Easy Chops, you talked about we were young, we didn't know that we should be looking at investors. For that young entrepreneur who's listening, who's like, I don't want to give anybody any equity in my company, I don't want to get investors, what is that? What is your reasoning behind saying, actually, this is important for the growth of our business?
I think for a couple of reasons. The financial resource it's a big thing. That's how you compete. Like, you're gonna have competitors. That's how you're able to compete. You need that financial resource. So I think it's super important. But there's such a thing as bad money and good money. You don't want bad money. Good money is money that comes with an investor that can help you grow your business, right? So you want to look for investors who have invested in similar spaces, who have experience in that industry, right?
Yeah.
So for us, and somebody who has invested in like a real estate tech, maybe Zillow or Airbnb or WorkBnB, for example, those are the kind of investors that we would want to work with, because they understand the idea of a marketplace for space sharing and things like that. So, and they already have connections in the industry. That is, I think, probably just as important as the money is the phone calls that these people can make for you. Because once they give you their money, they want you to be successful, and they're going to connect with the right people to make you successful. You don't want this early on. You don't want a silent partner, a silent investor.
Yeah. You definitely want to leverage your network and their network.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yeah.
There's a multiplier effect there. So
that's incredible. I think as I talk to founders of all ages, but especially young entrepreneurs, sometimes I think that's something that's so overlooked, and especially what you all just said, like the importance of the partnership inside of the investment. It's not just about the money, but really how can they help you take your business to the next level. Speaking of partnerships, I know you all have a really cool strategic partnership with WorkBnB. I'd love for you to share a bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So you want to tell?
I can start. So I was actually in the Techstars program in Tulsa last August, and that's where I met Yves, co-founder, CEO of WorkBnB. And
he's been on the show a couple of times.
So I'm sure the listeners are familiar with Yves. And Yves, like, he has such an amazing energy. You can't help but notice that Yves is in the room. And we got connected, man. We hit it off. He's one of the first people that I started hanging out with, like, outside of program. And we just really connected. Now, mind you, at the time we had started this idea, Yves is doing workforce rental, and we're doing like remote work, like almost rental in a sense. So I was like, you know what? I'm not here for this business. I'm not even going to bring it up to Yves. I don't want to think that, that I came here and I'm stealing his idea or something like that. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not even going to talk about WavaSpace. So didn't say anything. We just, started hanging out. And then on demo day, on demo day, I said, look, man, we got to talk. I think there's an opportunity for us to work together.
Wow.
You know, and you know, he was like, yeah. I mean, he was super open. He was like, I was shocked. Like I for whatever reason, I thought he was just gonna be like, why is this guy trying to steal my idea? And so I had all these receipts that I can prove that I started doing this before I ever met him. So I was like, you know, but I just straight up told him, I was like, hey, you know, I have this idea. Like, you know, at the time I was with that company, I was with Stars. So I was like, you're gonna meet my fiance. Like, you know, I think you guys are gonna connect. Like, there's opportunity for the two companies to work together. After the program, you know, everybody's trying to raise money, so kind of go ghost for like a few months.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, Yves was like, I think we should really consider doing this thing that you talked about, right?
Incredible.
Early in the year, again, he called another time. It's like, you know, I've talked to Dodge, and I think we should do this thing. It's just, it has so much strategic value because we're both in similar industries, and like, you know, and then we can kind of tap into each other's like, you know, workflows and processes and things like that. And then I think probably like in March or so, was it? And Yves called is like, yeah, let's do it now. You know,
it sounds like Yves.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we've thought it through. Let's, and he sent over a term sheet, like,
wow,
right away. And I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure you had this email like ready to go like before you talked to me. But the whole idea of this partnership was essentially, we know what we do really well. Product strategy. Like, we can get an idea. We've done it 10 times. We can get something from an idea to a working product with users trying it out. But one thing Yves and his team have done an amazing job with is really creating awareness for WorkBnB, PR, publicity, social media presence, and things like that. We're not that great at it. So, you know, like you and I are talking today because of Yves, right? And you know, so it just made sense. We're like, all right, so you guys are going to help us with these things that we don't know how to do, and then we're going to help you with these things that you guys are not like equipped to do. And it just happened, and within a week, right?
Incredible.
Now that I think about it, this happened around July.
Around
4th
of July.
Around 4th of July, right?
We were hanging out, and
we signed the deal the week before 4th of July. 4th of July, they came over here to Phoenix, you know, for 4th of July. We we had a good time with the family, and just kind of talk shop a little bit, talked about like, you know, what this partnership means and how we're, you know, steps that we're going to take moving forward. And it's been amazing. Like, we've, you know, we'll let Yves or when we do a WorkBnB series, like, we can share more updates on the product, but we've had more traction that we've seen, or they've seen in a while. So, you know, I told Yves, I say, hey, our method is proven. We've done it 10 times. We can get this product done. So.
And I also think that it just says something when it's an all Black founders, right? People that like us, we're showing people that it is possible to have an all Black co-founder team for both companies. And I think that is something that Yves really pushes on, and even us, you know, that's and it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of it. I love WorkBnB. I love Dodge. I love Yves.
It's been an amazing time, you know, and I think it's something very empowering. And I think, like, you know, you know, Yves, he pushes that, like, you know, Black excellence, and we do too. But it's so infectious. Like, when you talk to him, like, you're like, man, I want to go take over the world now.
I want to do more.
You know, sometimes I'm like, wait, are we Black enough?
Are we Black enough?
You know? I'm like, because Yves is like right here, and we've just, you know, we've spoken almost every day since this partnership, like,
incredible,
and we've been able to accomplish so much together since July.
That's amazing. As you know, I often think about when I was in college, I studied communication, but I remember my thesis was on kind of like the vision and communication theory behind kind of Marcus Garvey and like his commitment to Black businesses supporting each other. And it's really, as I like listen to y'all, like that's the first thing comes to my mind, because it's so beautiful to see Black businesses and Black people and Black entrepreneurs coming together to say, hey, this is, you know, where I'm not strong at, but you know, my community has my back, and you know, they're picking up on my weaknesses, but at the same time, I can help them where I'm super strong and where they may be weak. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like being in Tulsa for 3 months in the Texas program, and just learning about what Black people were able to accomplish there through community, just having each other's back. I think like what's WavaSpace, WorkBnB, us and Yves and Dodge, like what we're doing is really a testament to like trying to revive that spirit again. We can do it, right? You know, if I trust you and you trust me, and I have no, you know, malintention in my mind, and you know, same for you, like we can build something truly amazing. We make so much progress since July, like faster than like either of us have been able to do by ourselves, right?
Incredible.
It speaks to the power of like, you know, us as Black founders, especially in the tech world, like coming together and helping each other out. You know, even if there's nothing in it for you, like I do pro bono like consulting, like for, you know, young entrepreneurs, where if you have an idea that you want to talk to me, like what is the best way for me to get to a product to test this out? You know, I teach people like the quickest, effective way. How do you think about an MVP? How do you get a product out without spending a ton of money and putting yourself in the hole? And I love doing that for the community, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how she just looked at you right there.
I get passionate about this, you know.
It's so inspiring. I love when he does that. So cute.
Yeah. That's beautiful. You know, as we, you know, get ready to wrap up the year, we're going into the last quarter of the year. You know, what does the rest of 2023 look like for your team? But also, especially as we go into 2024, you know, what's the future hold?
Man, we have a few things in the works. Do you want to expand upon them?
Yeah, we're working on a few things. We just linked up with a co-working space that's opening up here in Phoenix.
Incredible.
And
incredible.
The best part is going to be the first Black-owned co-working space in Arizona. And just met with the CEO. We are going to be like working really closely together. You know, we're helping them like kind of build and grow that space, as well as them helping us with WavaSpace. So we just we got that deal signed today. We're super excited about it.
Congratulations. I need a soundboard to put all the cheers and applause. Amazing.
Yeah. And it's so exciting because, again, it goes back to what we just talked about, like the Black entrepreneurs like really helping each other and building a sense of community. Real quick before I answer the rest of the question, you know, this guy, I connected with him, Chris, amazing guy. Super passionate about what he's building. The reason why I connected with him is just solely for his vision.
Wow.
He has a vision to bring, you know, give Black people a comfortable space. Where it's not a bougie space. It's a space where if you're Black, you feel safe being in there. A space for people to collaborate, to work, get offices, you know, have a business address and things like that. So super excited about that. So that's one of the big things that we have. I don't want to go too much into that because he's going to do his announcements soon.
Of course, yeah.
And then the partnership with WorkBnB, I think we're going to be expanding upon that, like at launch. Both platforms are going to speak to each other. So that's one of the things that
wow, amazing.
Where they have a goal of occupancy rates, and for the host on his platform who wants to also fill any vacancies with our platform is going to speak directly to each other, where, you know, whenever they're not booked for a workforce rental, they can still be making money using the WavaSpace system.
Incredible. That's amazing.
It's a big plan. We, again, launch in Vegas this year, launch in Phoenix officially.
Yes.
Here, hopefully by October.
Yeah.
And you know, October is as far as I go right now. We're getting married in November in Nigeria, so we're gonna focus on that for a little bit.
Of course.
And I think 2024 really is when we're right now. Again, we kind of open up a funding round, but we're not pursuing that strongly, as I mentioned. But come 2024, it's full force in trying to raise funds and scale. To cities, we want to take a strategic approach and like start with the West Coast and then kind of move east from there.
Of course.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, so I think that's the plan. You know, the goal is we want to give people flexibility in the working space. We want to give them the option to, you know, to find the space that is right for them at the time when it is right for them without having to worry about a lease or any sort of commitment. It's you do it on your own terms when you need it.
Yeah, you know, and it says something because it's something that we would use ourselves.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
I would also use WavaSpace to go work somewhere else.
Especially when she wants to get away from you.
Exactly. You know, and I think that says something to our commitment to this product and how much we believe because it's something that we would also use. So it's a really exciting in future.
Y'all got me, I believe too. You know, Coach Deion Sanders has been asking reporters, "Do you believe?" I believe.
Nice. We need more believers.
You know, my final couple questions here. You know, first, I love that y'all are a Black couple doing this together. You know, what is you know, I also love hearing about the faith background. You know, what role has both, you know, family and faith played in and not only your business, but, you know, you all as a founding team and helping you scale the business?
You know, our family is very, very supportive of us, and they're really just some of our biggest champions. I believe in, you know, they just really just keep pushing us in the direction. You know, in being an entrepreneur in any right, there's always going to be some type of failure, right? And our family is always there to pick us up. You know, our faith helps us, you know, pivot, you know, and keep pushing and keep trying. Valentine's mom, she's always kind of done something. It fell, she'll pick something right back up. That's the basis of a lot of the things that we do, you know, just keep going and our family has our back.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, like, you know, my family perspective too, same thing. My mom, my dad runs his business today too, and that's just kind of in the entire family and how we've operated. We're both Christians too, like, so, you know, there's a strong, you know, faith background there, like stemming from our families, and so we've really kind of just channeled all of that into how we operate as a couple, how we operate as co-founders, and just as a team in general. So yeah, both family and faith has played a lot of, you know, into making us like who we are today, into this product being where it is today, you know. I can't tell you how many times I say, "Hey mom, starting a new business." She's like, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is the one."
Yeah. And whenever I bring it to my parents, they're just like questions, you know. And it really helps me kind of think through critically on those and making sure I'm able to answer those questions, because if they're asking them, anyone will. And, you know, they just want to make sure that we got it.
Yep.
I love that. I think oftentimes, you know, we often hear stories of be and, you know, this is all about the business, but you know, one thing I've loved about doing this podcast is being able to, you know, be able to hear about the values that, you know, are you know, giving the founder their foundation to really, you know, take something to the next level. My final question for you all, you know, for those young entrepreneurs, you know, what advice do you have for them? For someone who's like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to start my first business," what advice do you have for them?
You can go first.
Okay. So one of the things that you want to do is just make sure you are leveraging your network, right? Leveraging the people that you know around you, the people that are investing in you, building that community, because that's where that community is going to come in for you. Knowing when to really pivot for your business. If an idea isn't working or something, there are going to be failures that are going to happen, but the biggest thing is you need to know how to pivot and not be so hard on yourself, because it happens. It's the journey of entrepreneur from the beginning of time, right?
Yep.
It's a new idea and you really got to flesh it out. So really just continuing to believe in yourself, believe in your idea. And when you believe in your idea, you can make other people believe in your idea, and knowing when to pivot to make sure that you're getting it where you need to go is huge.
I love that.
Yeah, and I can piggyback off of that too. Like knowing where to pivot, like you need to consistently like request and accept feedback. That's how that's the quickest way you can get to the right product, right? Product market. You have to purposefully seek out mentorship. A lot of the accomplishment that we've had is because we've had people in our lives who have kind of done similar things or close enough, and they've kind of steered us in the right direction. It was something that I learned from my first business when I was like, no, we don't want anybody, we're making money, everybody stay away. And we were just not able to think through or anticipate a lot of things. So definitely seek out mentorship for sure. Have a clear vision, do the market research. It's very important, right? Make sure like what you're trying to solve for. You don't have to have all the answers. Do the research. That's how you get answers. I think those are probably like the key things that I would have, key advices that I would give to young entrepreneurs out there. So.
Incredible. I guess I lied. My final question: where can people find WavaSpace if they want to invest? They want to place their property on the platform. Just follow what y'all are doing. Connect on social media. How can people connect with y'all?
Absolutely. First thing, our website is www.wavaspace.com. It is live. We're a web platform. In the future, hopefully, we will transition into a mobile app, but we're starting on the web right now. My personal email is v@wavaspace.com. Jada is j@wavaspace.com. So anybody can feel free to reach out if you have questions. I'm happy to jump on the call, tell you how the platform works, and things like that. On social media, LinkedIn and Instagram, we're just WavaSpace.
Incredible.
So
incredible. Valentine, Jada, I'm so grateful for the two of you for being guests on the show. I say this every time after a show. I know I'm going to be inspired at the end of an episode, but I'm like blown away by how inspired I am by the two of you all's story.
Thank you.
I appreciate having us. I appreciate you having us on this platform, man. It means the work.
Of course. When I was younger, I wish there was something like this, for me to hear stories from founders who look like me. So thank y'all again. I'll be sure to link everything down in the show notes. And listeners, thanks for tuning in. Always super grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.